What's up, YouTube? This is 82 and 0. Welcome back. I covered one of my favorite Globetrotters, Marcus Haynes, but my second favorite would have to be Goose Tatum. Uh, One of the best players of the 1940s, one of the best athletes of that time period, and one of the most forgotten basketball players of all time. So let's talk about Reese, nicknamed Goose Tatum. He was born in El Dorado, Arkansas on May 31st, 1921 to Ben and Alice Tatum. Now, Tatum was a three-sport star in baseball, basketball, and football. It is not known if he graduated, though. But after high school, Tatum pursued a career in professional baseball. He joined the Louisville Black Colonels in 1937. He played for the Memphis Red Sox and the Birmingham Black Barons in 1941 and 1942, respectively. Tatum served in the United States Air Force during World War II. Now, the Harlem Globetrotters owner Abe Saperstein signed Tatum in 1942. Tatum was released by the Globetrotters in 1955 after 11 seasons. At the time of his release, he was making a reported $53,000 a year. I'm not sure what that would be adjusted to inflation. But okay, keep in mind, I think that in the early 1950s, the average family, right? I think the household income was like $11,000, something like that. And so that's why I always hate when people are like, "Oh, they were plumbers, they were this," because they don't really understand inflation. They just see 53,000 a year and think, "Oh, they were struggling." 53,000 a year in the 1940s was really good. He was one of the highest paid basketball players, not even just basketball players, but athletes of that time. Now, Tatum and Haynes, who were both Harlem Globetrotter players, formed a barnstorming basketball team of their own, which would be called the Fabulous Harlem Magicians. So, unfortunately, with a lot of those Globetrotters, um, they didn't keep track of a lot of their stats back then. So it's hard really to get an estimate of what he averaged, because the Globetrotters were not just considered entertainers. Yeah, yes, they were different than actual. What's the great term to use? They were different than the basketball leagues because they did a lot of theatrics. Yes, but they were also respectable basketball players that you had to fear on the court. And the Globetrotters bounced around quite a bit. They played in different basketball leagues. They were a barnstorming team, right? But I think anyone watching this video should go check out this movie called Go Man Go. It's a movie that came out in the 1950s about the Globetrotters uh, and how they made it. They started out struggling. Their owner couldn't afford to pay them a whole lot. And, to be able to make $53,000 a year in the 1940s and 50s, it really shows their come up. And I mean, the Globetrotters are still around today. So it really shows you the impact that Goose Tatum had and Abe Saperstein had. But anyways, they were known to play actual professional basketball teams. Like, for example, they beat the Minneapolis Lakers, they beat the Celtics, they beat the Knicks. But to me, what stands out, the Globetrotters entered which was called the World Professional Basketball Tournament. And in the movie Go Man Go, I don't want to spoil anything. They cover this. But anyways, um, this was a tournament from 1939 to 1948. And this was kind of like a World Series of basketball because basketball wasn't as united as it is today. What I mean by that is today, in America, we have the NBA, right? Yeah, you have the G League, but that's unaffiliated to the NBA. There's not really a second league that has popularity rivaling them. But during this time, they had all these different basketball leagues. They had the NBL, they had the ABL, etc., etc. Now, what the World Professional Basketball Tournament did was it gave all these teams from all these different leagues a chance to prove which one was the best team, right? And it was a tournament. And the Harlem Globetrotters won it in 1940. So why am I talking about this? Well, you can't. The thing is, the Globetrotters didn't really have championships under their belt because, like I said, they're a barnstorming team, right? And the reason why I'm bringing that up is a lot of times people they want to know how many championships does a player have. So when I'm talking about a guy like Goose Tatum, he doesn't really have any. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't in the NBL, he wasn't in the NBA. So, anyways, I'll count this as their championships, if you will. Nat Clifton also played in the tournament with them. Another famous Globetrotter who they have a movie coming out about him. But, anyways, Goose Tatum was one of the best Globetrotters. And his career lasted quite a while. I mean, he played with the Globetrotters from 1940, right? All the way up until 1962. That's how long he was with the Globetrotters. Although he did bounce around a little bit. Like I said, he did start the Harlem Magicians. But then he would go back to the Harlem Globetrotters in 1962. His career would end in 1966. But the only official postseason record that we have is the 1942-43 season on the Harlem Globetrotters. In the World Basketball Tournament, he averaged 17 points per game. So anyways, he's one of the greatest basketball players of that generation. And it's really hard to put his numbers or his accolades because, they didn't keep a lot of good records about it back then. Unfortunately, he died pretty young. I mean, he was only 45 years old when he passed. In 1966, Tatum's son, Goose Jr., was killed in a car accident. Soon after, Tatum began drinking heavily, and he regularly had hospital visits due to his alcoholism and depression. He died in his home in El Paso, Texas, on January 18th, 1967, at the age of 45. The official autopsy stated that he died of natural causes. Tatum was buried in Fort Bliss National Cemetery. In 1974, Tatum was inducted into the Arkansas Sports Hall of Fame, but also he was inducted in 2011 to the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. So this is just a video wanting to remember Goose Tatum. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and thanks for watching.
Come in. Your mother said to come upstairs. Goose Tatum?
That's me.
My name's Abe Saperstein. I'm with the Globetrotters. Ever hear of them?
Yeah.
Heard about you the other side of the state. They tell me you like to play basketball.
Oh, I can take it or leave it.
What's that for?
When I feel like taking it, I like to have it handed. But to keep from disturbing the family, I've developed a silent shot.
Silent shot? What's that?
You know, where the ball doesn't hit the wall, the ceiling, or the rim. Like this.
Can you do that again?
It's a little harder when I don't look. I kind of like to stump myself if I can. In the summertime, I do a little pitching.
Can I see that ball? Where did you learn to handle a ball like that?
Oh, I picked it up when I was a kid. Would you like to have an orange, Mr. Saperstein?
Thanks. Now, hear this, Tatum. We'd like you to join our club. We're a team that's going places, and in no time we'll be the greatest in the world.
What you mean is you can't pay much.
Ändå är det här bara en